Hello everyone, welcome to the course Azure for Data Engineers. In this course, I'll be introducing you to key concepts and services within the Azure platform that are essential for data engineering work. Whether you're just starting out or looking to strengthen your cloud skills, this course will give you a strong foundation tailored to real-world data engineering scenarios. Let's begin with the basics. What is Azure? Azure is Microsoft's cloud computing platform. It provides a vast variety of services. This is not just the only cloud computing platform out there. The different competitors are AWS, GCP, etc. So in this course, we will be focusing purely on Azure, the different Azure services in the context of data engineers. So in terms of the different services, Azure provides on-demand computing, it provides storage, networking, database, and a variety of other services. It is useful for scalable data engineering, analytics, machine learning, and the list just goes on. So in summary, Azure enables individuals, businesses, or other organizations to build, deploy, and manage applications and services across a variety of environments. This include on-premise, in cloud, or in a hybrid setup. So if I explain it with some example, it will make more sense. So let's consider a scenario. You're working for a retail company named Contoso Supermart. Little bit context about the company. It's a growing retail chain with both physical stores and an e-commerce platform. So you can purchase things online or at the store. So for this company, they want to analyze customer behavior, optimize inventory and supply chain, run personalized marketing campaigns. So they have online customers. So if you have ever purchased items online, you can see that if you have checked out some item in the next couple of days, you will keep seeing similar items or the same items tempting you to buy it anyway, even if you don't need it. So these kind of targeted marketing campaigns, it's the work of, there is a role of data engineers. All your clickstream data is collected and analyzed and fed into machine learning models so that they can target what kind of products a customer needs and run targeted marketing campaigns. Then just in general modernize their legacy data platform. So as a data engineer, these are the list of Azure services that are useful. Instead of going through the list, let me show you a quick demo here. So the variety of data that this particular retail Contoso supermarket is dealing with is clickstream logs. This is coming from the online customers, the different products they click. Everything is monitored. The products that you put into your cart, the products that you take out of the cart, how long you stay in different page, all this clickstream log data is so much useful if it is used in the right way. It provides meaningful insights about customer behavior and also helps in targeting those customers with the right campaigns. Then supplier data, transaction data. So variety, this is just a few variety of data. So all this data, how we can use various Azure services for storing data in the form of files, whether it be structured, semi-structured or unstructured data in CSV, JSON or unstructured files. You can use Azure storage services. There's a variety of storage services like blob storage, data lake storage, and table kind of storage. We will talk more about the variety of storage services later. I want you to have some high level picture now and get some hands on experience before going in depth into individual services. Now, when it comes to transaction data, we can make use of Azure SQL database for storing the transaction data. Now, if the data is staying in the storage or in the SQL, it's not providing any meaningful insights. We need to bring it into some centralized warehouse kind of place like Azure Synapse Analytics, or you need to feed this data into Azure machine learning models so that it can do some predictions. Um, so we need to orchestrate this movement of data from one place to another. So the same data may needs to travel to the different destinations. So all this data movement can be done by an Azure service called Azure Data Factory. We will talk more in depth about Azure Data Factory because it's an important service that you should be familiar with as a data engineer. Next, coming to the presentation layer, again, the data sitting in the warehouse is still not providing any business value. We need to organize, clean this data, perform transformations, and organize or present this data in views that can be used by Power BI reports. And the business users, the marketing people, the finance people, the executives, the different variety of users will get meaningful insights from this data in the form of a variety of reports. So as a data engineer, you play a critical role in bringing this raw data into usable form and presenting it into the users. And in this process, it's not just Azure Data Factory. You also use other services like Azure Key Vault for storing the secrets, the passwords. If there is a PII, personally identifiable information, we need to protect that. So we will be encrypting them. So those kind of keys you can store in Azure Key Vaults. And also you need to make sure that only the necessary people have access to the data. You shouldn't expose your customer data to everyone. So role-based access control needs to be implemented. So you can use Azure Active Directory or Enter ID for imposing role-based access control so that you can make sure that only authorized people have access to your data. So this is just an example of a variety of Azure services that you can use in this context. So again, going through the list again, we have Azure Blob Storage, Azure Data Factory, Data Lake Storage, Synapse Analytics or SQL database, then Azure Machine Learning, then Power BI. Azure Visual Network can be used for connecting between the different services in a secure way. Then for storing the credentials, you can use Key Vault, and then Azure Active Directory for enabling role-based access control. Now, what is the role of data engineers? You as a data engineer will be designing the pipelines using Azure Data Factory. Why do we need the pipeline? For bringing data from point A to point B. You can compare pipeline with the water pipeline. What is the purpose of water pipeline? For bringing water from its reservoir to the individual users, or for bringing the wastewater from individual users to a reservoir. So it happens both ways. So bringing something from one place to another place is what a pipeline does. In our case, it's data. We are bringing data from one place to another place. We also perform transformation of data. Then managing the data flow from ingestion to presentation. So when I say managing, it involves everything from designing the pipeline deciding when to run these pipelines, how often you need to bring this data, how often you need to transform this data, and then controlling the ensuring the security and scalability of these pipelines. As the data volume increases, the design should be able to handle the increase in data volume. Supporting the data scientists. So the data scientists will be more focused on building the machine learning or deep learning models that provides insights from your data or make predictions on your data. However, you as a data engineer will be supplying the clean data, because if you even if the machine learning model, regardless of how powerful the model is, if you feed in with garbage data, the outcome will also be garbage, garbage in, garbage out. So you need to present it, you need to feed it with good quality data. And you as a data engineer will be providing that good quality data to the data scientist so that they can use that data and then provide insights. Now, let me take a pause and introduce you to Gateway to Data Engineer Data Careers program by Algoritmo. I volunteer here as a mentor. This program is designed to support individuals who are looking to start or restart their career in data. Whether you're a student, a recent graduate seeking some hands-on experience, or someone returning to tech industry after a career break, this program is to help you build confidence and gain practical skills in a real-world setting. So, what you will get from this program? So, you will be able to work in an Azure environment modeled on real-world industry standards. You don't have to worry about the setup. Um, you will have access to an Azure portal with the role-based permissions, like you are joining a product-based company. So you can start building and designing pipelines right away without worrying about the setup steps. And you will also learn how to design and build the pipelines using the best practices. Best practices include implementing CI/CD workflows with Git-based deployment. You won't just learn how to build pipelines, how to build pipelines in the best way, following the best industry standards. You will also have the opportunity to join weekly office hours sessions conducted online to resolve any doubts or overcome any blockers. So the infrastructure setup includes uh, the core services that are used by data engineers. Say, for example, Azure Blob Storage. So you will have access to blob storage accounts for a dev environment, QA, UAT, and prod environment, because that's how it is set up in a product-based big company. You will be doing the development in a dev environment. You won't be having access to make changes directly in the prod environment. So you will test your changes and then publish those changes to the other environments using CI/CD. So you will be storing your files. You will have permissions to store and retrieve files, different variety of files in the dev environment storage account. Then Azure SQL database. This is another service you will be using as a data engineer. Again, here you don't have to worry about setting up the SQL server database. You will use it as a service, like as a data engineer. All you are concerned about is how to establish that connection with an existing SQL server instance, and how to bring the data from maybe blob to the SQL or SQL to blob, depending on the different scenarios or the different projects you are working with. But the infrastructure will be already set up for you. Azure Data Factory. Again, you will be having, we will set up the Azure Data Factory instances for dev, QA, UAT, and prod. You as a data engineer will start building pipelines in the dev Azure Data Factory, and then you will also learn how to publish those changes into the other lower environments and eventually into production using CI/CD. We will talk about how to do that using Azure DevOps or GitLab CI/CD. We will talk about the variety of CI/CD options available out there, the pros and cons of each approach, etc. So you don't have to worry about setting up the Azure Data Factory or the CI/CD account. All your concern is how to orchestrate the data movement and how to do the data transformation. Then Azure Key Vault. You will have access to Key Vault as a user. So you will be able to store secrets, retrieve the secret values, and use them in variety of ways. But you don't have to worry about setting up the Key Vault account, because when you join an organization, the Key Vault will be already there. So as a beginner, you don't have to worry about those initial infrastructure setup. Then you will also have access to Azure Monitor and Log Analytics. All the core services needed for data engineers, you will have access to as a user, and then you will be able to practice it. So this approach benefits you in two major ways. One, if you are a beginner, you won't be overwhelmed by the complex setup steps. You will be able to dive straight into data engineering tasks without worrying about cloud costs or figuring out how to configure everything from the scratch. Two, in a real company, junior data engineers typically join an existing cloud setup. So instead of getting lost in the vast Azure ecosystem, you learn to focus on what matters the most. What that is data integration or transformation, orchestration, automation. So as you progress and build confidence, you will be guided to explore individual services in depth and also even learn how to set them up by yourself. So if you are interested to know more about this program and taking your Azure skills to the next level, reach out to Algoritmo using the link in the description below. Stay tuned for more videos on building data engineering solutions using Azure platform. Thanks for watching. Thank you.